Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're in Way Media.
Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, where we are taking a look at George A. Romero's 1980s television series, Tales from the Darkside. I'm Father Malone, and sharing the Midnight View with me is the projection booth's Mike White.
Goodbye, Geezenstacks family. Goodbye.
It's a runner. Unfortunately, Chris Stachiw is unavailable this evening. It's just Mike and I tonight, so we're going to be taking a look at 2 episodes from Season 3. Those are The Geezenstacks and Black Widows. The Geezenstacks, Season 3, Episode number 5, originally aired on October the 26th, 1986. This was written by Nancy Doyne, based on a short story by Frederick Brown, and directed by Bill Travis, starring Craig Wasson. Wasson. What is it, Mike? You've
it's Wasson.
This fucker in the past, right?
I haven't. I've tried to, but never got a hold of him for the body double episode. And then I read some stories about him being a sex pest, so I didn't really go after it that hard.
Oh, no. Also starring Tandy Cronin, Larry Pine, and Lana Hirsch. This tells the tale of Uncle Richard giving young Audrey a dollhouse he found in an abandoned property. Always a good idea. What Audrey discovers about the doll family seems to be happening to her own. What did you think about this one, Mike?
I really enjoyed this. First off, I love that their last name is Hummel, which is nice because my mom used to collect Hummels. So those little stupid things are not quite precious moments. They seem to be a little less cloying than precious moments figures, but it was a nice foreshadowing. I actually did my homework on this one, and I read the Frederick Brown story and enjoyed it. It's very different insofar as the uncle has no idea where these dolls came from. And I want to say it ends a little bit differently. So the way that they set up the whole idea of the dollhouse and her hearing the voices and then them eventually, spoilers, becoming the dolls. And then there's like this, like the Russian doll, the Russian nesting doll type of thing where it's like, oh, and now here's a smaller version of the house. And I'm like, well, how long has this been going on for? I would like to know. It just seems like twice now, but I would almost like if there was another little house inside of the littler house type of thing, but this was good. Wasson is a little much here, but I enjoyed pretty much everything about it. I really, especially like Larry Pine as Uncle Richard quite a bit. What'd you think, Father Malone?
I, again, or echoing you, I really enjoyed this one a lot. This is a fan favorite, the Geezenstacks. And you can see why. It is weird enough and wild enough and very, very dark side where this dollhouse just falls into their lives. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no punishment going on here. It's not a morality play. I love when it's this kind of weirdness. Larry Pine is a Wes Anderson guy ever since Royal Tenenbaums. He's in every single one of his. He's a Woody Allen guy as well. Tandy Cronin playing the mom. Let's guess who her parents are.
Oh my God. I had no idea that they had a child named Tandy Cronin. I mean, that's absolutely bizarre. I mean, it's like naming Isabella Rossellini as Ingrid Rossellini.
Yeah, that's Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin's daughter, Tandy Cronin, who I don't know that her name is Tandy. I think it's like a Reese Witherspoon. She took her mom's maiden name, like as her first to honor her or something. But yeah, she's fine here. Craig Wasson, yeah, man, I don't know what it is about that man. Now, hearing he's a sex pest makes sense because there's just something off about him, right? Like even in Body Double, and I love Body Double.
Oh yeah, that might be one of my favorite De Palmas. Yeah,
absolutely. That is pure De Palma, and he's a proxy for us, but he's also off-putting at the same time. Like you can't really get behind him, and that's the same thing here. Like he's just as ineffectual. He just gives off ineffectual. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, then I don't know if he can hear the dolls too or not. There's a couple of moments in here. There's one where she's talking about somebody who's been bad and they're going to get a spanking and all this. I'm like, I didn't see any spanking in this episode. I was very disappointed by that. And then there's talk about Mr. Geezenstack hitting Mrs. Geezenstack. And when Watson pulls back his fist, I'm like, what? You punch your wife in the face? But then he stops himself. So I'm like, okay, do the Geezenstacks have absolute power over them or what's going on? And then there's also this whole thing of the time delay too, which I thought that there was going to be like a little bit of time between when Audrey says that the Geezenstacks are saying something or doing something. But then when they come to the mom's coat, it's like, oh, mom's got a new coat. Oh, and it doesn't have pretty velvet and shiny buttons, and boom, she walks through the door. I was like, oh, there's no time delay in this thing at all. Okay, but yeah, I didn't really get the rules or anything, but I was okay with that. But as far as the rules go, I wasn't sure what Wasson was experiencing. I didn't know if he was hearing them or if he was just freaking out or if he's like just listening to Audrey and like waiting for her to like translate what the Geezenstacks were saying.
Yeah, I think it was just a matter of him hearing her and then seeing the results immediately, just like the audience. But here's my only problem with the episode, because even though there are multiple problems, if you want to focus on them, that I don't care about, because it's like an Argento thing. It's just like a mood piece, ultimately, this thing is. But what drove me crazy is the little girl asking the question. It was so grating. I wish she was just talking from one doll to the other. I know this is a quibble, but for some reason, this is what drove me over the edge for the episode. Don't do that for dialogue. Just, oh, so is mommy coming home with a brand new coat? Oh, does the coat have nice buttons? Does the blah, blah, blah? Craig Wasson has the right to be worried because his daughter is a freakazoid. She's just interrogating these dolls. And by the way, the Hummel joke, I love the Hummel joke too. Yeah, I've got a mom who collected Hummels and Yadro. Seen those?
Ooh.
They're like elongated Hummels.
Oh gosh, that sounds like nightmare fuel. I didn't realize that Geezenstack means doll or strange doll. I'm not sure if that's German or where that comes from.
Gotta be German.
That feels like it, right?
Yeah, the effect at the end, where a house within a house within a house, image within an image within an image, evidently called the Drost effect. Was unaware of that. Named for an advertisement in the Netherlands, which featured a woman on a box holding a box with a woman on a box, and on and on and on into infinity. Ooh. So like the Land O'Lakes kind of effect. Anyway, I was curious too, are the Geezenstacks predicting the future or are they forcing it? Because like you said, maybe they're just seeing what's happening and relating that to the girl. But then there is no other reason that he would almost punch her in the face.
Right.
That was way too much.
And then also going back to my other question about can Watson hear them, it feels like the uncle can hear them when he comes into the house and they're miniature and screaming and stuff. So I'm like, but then he gets turned into a doll as well, I think.
I think?
Yeah, but it is weird that I have no problems with these like quote unquote lapses of logic because I'm just like, yeah, it's a very effective story. People become the dolls. But yeah, I am like, okay, yeah, can they predict this? Because I'm thinking that they're another family from somewhere, but then she names the little girl Audrey and then names the Uncle Richard. So I'm like, okay, so it's almost like they're them in the future, but they are definitely different dolls. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, oh, no, totally. And now I wonder, whatever the next family that ends up inheriting the house, she'll get that same number of dolls and they'll be the Geezenstacks, but she'll now rename them for her family. So every family becomes the Geezenstacks in this horrible of a nightmare miniature house. They did something similar to this on the Creepshow reboot. One of the very first episodes about a miniature head that just kept showing. It's really good. It's like this, and you're just like, what is going on here for the entire episode? And then it ends and you're like, I don't know if that made sense, but I enjoyed it, you know?
I'm trying to think because I know I've read other Frederick Brown stuff, but I cannot tell you like, oh yeah, he's the guy that wrote this. Like looking at his filmography, Martians Go Home. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Cinema. Yes. Yeah, that was one of his stories.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Had a great theme song.
With the Martians Go Home thing?
Yeah. Martians taking over the world.
Was that Randy Quaid in that?
It was. Yes.
It was. Yeah, I saw that in the theater. Jesus Christ. All right. The next.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He wrote The Screaming Meanie. So the movie that eventually became, or the book that also inspired The Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Oh my God. Speaking of Argento, there you go. He's apparently a surrealist of some sort. They didn't give you any explanation in the short story, did they?
No, not really. And if anything, the short story, I was just like, wait, what just happened? I was done with it. I was
more confusing.
The last few paragraphs just fell apart. I was like, oh, okay. I get the actual Tales from the Darkside a little bit better. So one of the few times I can say the adaptation was better than the original story.
Particularly with an anthology series. My God.
Yeah.
All right. Our next episode is Black Widows. This is season 3, episode number 6, aired originally on November the 2nd, 1986, written by Michael McDowell, directed by Carl Epstein, and starring Margaret O'Brien, Teresa Saldana, Paul Eiding, and Joe Dangerio. I'm going to do
sure.
Joe Dangerio. All right. In this story, spiders are prized in this particular trailer home with good reason. Mildred and her daughter Audrey, that's 2 Audreys in a row, might be able to relate to those spiders a little too well. What'd you think, Mike?
Again, I was very surprisingly tickled by this episode. I knew where it was going pretty early on. Didn't really buy Teresa Saldana being young enough to be Margaret O'Brien's daughter or vice versa. However, whoever the mother was too young to have the daughter the age that she had, in my opinion. I thought that she should have been more like an old lady who was complaining of the aches and pains and that she doesn't go out and those kind of things. Because as it was, the mom, I was like, she seems pretty spry. She's pretty young. Why isn't she out partying, doing something else? But instead, she just sits there in her web and waits for people to come in so she can take care of them, especially if they happen to kill one of those little baby spiders around.
Don't touch the spiders in this trailer. We need a double wide, and if you kill that spider, we're not going to get it. Michael McDowell, how much I love you, but stop writing white trash dialogue. Just because they're in a trailer, not everyone has to be called Mama.
Very true.
Oh, Mama. It felt so Carrie like in the dialogue, and Michael McDowell's usually pretty good with dialogues. Margaret O'Brien is in Meet Me in St. Louis.
Wow. So I guess she is pretty old, but Yeah, okay. Only
But you're right.
17 years older. Okay, I'm looking at the trivia too. Yeah.
But that's negligible. And Teresa Saldana looks older than she is. Margaret O'Brien looks younger than she is. So yeah, they kind of look like maybe not necessarily sisters, but it doesn't feel like maybe older friend or something, but definitely not mom and daughter here. Yeah, this is an episode I've seen and have confused with probably a dozen other anthology horror stories. Every spider story in every anthology has mixed up in my head, including one in Monsters, the eventual sequel series to Tales from the Darkside. They have a pretty good one, and that one is the one I was remembering over this one somehow. But it turns out I like this one better. Even though that web is so fucking chintzy.
I laughed out loud when they showed that web. I was like, oh, so who ran out to the dollar store and bought all that the clothes rope, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. It's just clotheslines, which they're saying that they're hanging their clothes up anyway. They're the poor people in here, but like, yeah, that was terrible. The one thing I cannot recommend in the episode is the direction by Carl Epstein. I think this is his only credit or one of only a couple of credits. And just felt like, hey, you're our pal. Go ahead and direct this. It is not skillful, but I love seeing Teresa Saldana. Honestly, like I know why we didn't get more of her for so long, but it's a drag. Like,
oh, you're gonna have to dish because I only really know her from the stuff she was in more in the 70s with "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and "Raging Bull."
I believe right around this time, she was attacked by someone. She was slashed, actually.
Oh, shit.
Brought to the face and spent years and years having reconstructive surgery. So.
Oh, wow. That is horrible. I didn't even know that.
Because I remember her popping up again in the 90s sometime, and there was a bit of fanfare at the time, like, oh my God, she's back. That kind of thing. Maybe I'm making all this up. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I hate spiders. They're the worst. I don't like them at all. I don't even playing at them. I did that we did not get full-on spidery makeup here. Given what we were given for a web, that would have been terrifying. Don't do that. You know what I really liked about it, though? I think any other anthology series, they would have strung us along for 22 minutes and then we're spiders. As opposed to kind of giving us it by the end of the first act, like, here's the deal. You're a fucking spider.
And again, pretty skillful just to have those pincers coming in and taking care of the one salesman. And I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I knew spiders had something going on, but I didn't realize these people are going to turn into spiders. And then, yeah, I love the whole, oh my God, when she comes out with the now dead husband's corpse and he just looks like a desiccated husk. I was very, very thrilled to see that.
Yeah, that's what we love about Darkside, right? Like, they pull no punches. And compare this with, say, Night Gallery's spider episode. That long fucking treatise by Rod Serling about this spinster and and nothing compares to that spider.
That room-sized spider, yeah.
That VW-sized spider. I thought I was worried, Mike. Season 3 was really scaring me the first couple of episodes here, but I'm glad they're not leaning into more logic. If they want to keep being surreal for the rest of the series, I'm good with it because they're getting great actors. Most of these episodes are obviously the New York ones. This one definitely. And look, they need to stop throwing favors to their pals and letting them direct and let some real fucking directors in here. Ernest Dickerson's right there, guys. But you can let him out from behind the camera and let him do something else. He would direct the shit out of one of these. But ultimately, upward trend is what I'm thinking. And I hope I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're not wrong either. Because, yeah, I've been fooled before. So don't break my heart, Tales from the Darkside.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Twilight Zone. Jesus. Anything else on Black Widows?
I was glad, too, that they didn't show the baby. I thought that was very smart. They just showed us enough to give us what these folks are. And the rest of it is more sound effects and just kind of our imagination going wild. So all we really need to see were those two pincers coming down. And that's it.
Yeah, I remember now. By now, Amazing Stories is in full swing. Alfred Hitchcock Presents is back. Like, all these big budgeted things were just making Tales from the Darkside look like the chintziest sideshow freakazoid. But on occasion, even I was not immune to that as a kid. Something would come on and just be like, get the fuck out of here. I'd turn it off. Like, really? They're not even trying, guys. And maybe that was amplified in comparison to those other $1 million an episode shows. But in rewatching it now, it's charming. What you're saying, now watching the ingenuity of it, I don't want to see them turn into a spider, honestly. That's not going to scare me.
Yeah.
If they were to do that in a modern motion picture right now, maybe it could scare me. But never mind 40 years ago on a fucking television budget.
Shit, yeah, it is 40 years ago. 39 right now, right? That's wild to think about.
It's horrifying. It's scarier than anything in this series. All right. On the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we're going to be taking a look at the next 2 episodes of season 3. Those are Heretic and A Serpent's Tooth. Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, is a proud member of the Weirding Way Media Group, and our theme song was composed by HP with an assist by Donald Rubenstein. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Mike White?
Well, usually I am busy working on The Projection Booth, which is a podcast that I do day in, day out, now week in, week out. I've been doing it for going on 14 years now. That's a lot of fun. I hope people actually tune in and listen, because every week we're talking about a different movie over at projectionboothpodcast.com, which you can get as part of the Weirding Way Media Network, which is available at weirdingwaymedia.com. How about you, Father Malone?
I'm on the same goddamn network. And if you want to support this show, go over to patreon.com/Father Malone. You're going to get episodes early and commercial free, and you're going to get content that you can only get there. If money is tight, and I know it is, you can do us a solid by giving us a 5-star rating, or share it, or like it, or review it kindly, or tell some friends about it. Maybe nerdy friends who like horror. Just saying. Thank you all for joining us here at Midnight Viewing. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.